Good morning, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here in Istanbul. Thank you very much for having me. What I want to talk about today is how big data and artificial intelligence are changing our world. And I believe that we are currently seeing the beginnings of a new industrial revolution that will change all our businesses and all our jobs. And at the basis of this industrial revolution is the explosion of data. We are currently experiencing something that we have never seen before, where we are generating so much data, and we can now use this data to really drive our business performance. We currently have around 5 zettabytes of data in our world. What is fascinating to me is that 90% of all the data that we now have in our world was generated in the last 18 months. And we're expecting to see these 5 zettabytes to grow to over 50 zettabytes in the next 3 to 4 years. So we're experiencing something we have never seen before. We've always had quite a lot of data, and in the past we couldn't quite use this data. Now, a few things have changed. We can now use this data because what we have is we have cloud computing, so we have this ability to store almost unlimited amounts of data, and we have new processing capabilities to use this data to actually gain insights. And this is fueling this new revolution in artificial intelligence. I believe artificial intelligence is the biggest, most powerful technology we've ever had as humans. And it is going to change our world forever. In the past, again, artificial intelligence is nothing new. We've had AI now for the last 50 years. What has changed is that we are now changing the way we're using it. In the past, we had to train algorithms, we had to tell it the rules. So if we wanted an algorithm to recognize what is on a photograph, we had to say, if you want to recognize a cat has ears, it has 2 eyes, but this was really difficult. Actually, what we now have is we have what we call machine learning, where computers do this by themselves. We simply give a machine millions of photographs of cats, then millions of photographs of, let's say, dogs. We label them, and then we let the machine figure out by itself how to recognize it. And this is very much like us human beings. We have neurons in our brains, and when we learn to recognize things, when we learn how to speak, when we learn how to walk, these neurons make connections in our brain. And the same is true for machine learning. We are replicating these neurons in our brain, and we are creating artificial neural networks that now allow us to give machines the power to recognize what is on photographs, to understand our language, and to operate autonomous robots. So it's going to change all our businesses. And what I see is that entire business models are being disrupted at the moment. Most businesses now want to use AI and big data. The key is that we're figuring out whether our business model is still the right business model for this new 4th industrial revolution. So the first step is to actually think, is our business model still right? And Stitch Fix is a company that I think epitomizes what this new industrial revolution is all about. Stitch Fix is a subscription service that sends you clothes every month. So you subscribe to this, and every month they will send you clothes to wear, and you can then return whatever you like or don't like. This company now uses AI very effectively. So you fill out a survey, you give it your size and your style, and then the artificial intelligence algorithm will find clothes that you might like. It also looks at your Pinterest accounts and your Instagram accounts to see what kind of style you're wearing. The AI will then create a portfolio of clothes, and then a human fashion advisor will take this initial selection, say, this looks like a really good combination. They will write a personal note to you and then send you the clothes. And for me, this is a perfect combination of a company that really understands where we are, what we are able to do with AI, and how to still add the human touch to what they do. Lots of companies get lost in this whole new world of AI and big data. So for me, one of the biggest pieces of advice is that we need to step back and really figure out what are the key business questions we want to have an answer to. And companies like Google are now doing this very effectively. Google has actually sat down on a board level and identified the most important, critical business questions they need to have an answer to. And now those questions are driving their data usage and their AI, because they're saying these are the most strategic business questions that we need to have an answer to, these are the biggest challenges, and therefore this is how we need to use AI. Another challenge at the moment is that lots of organizations don't actually understand the art of the possible. What now can be achieved with data, what data they have available. And again, a great example comes from Walmart, the largest retailer in the world. I was working with them, and one of the things Walmart did is they created these data cafes, where basically they were like physical Starbucks, but in those coffee shops, you had data scientists who would then be able to sit down with you. So you get a cup of coffee, sit down, say, these are my business challenges, these are the questions I want to have an answer to, and then the technical people can help you understand how you might use data and AI to help you answer your biggest business questions. And this is something I don't see often enough in organizations, this hand-holding where they create functions that really help people to understand what is possible and what can be done with data. So today I just want to look at two key use cases of using data and AI in our organizations. The first use case is where we use data to better understand our customers and actually deliver smarter products and services to our customers. And the second one is where we use data to automate our processes. So I'm just going to give you some examples here. The first one is around understanding customers. And companies like Facebook or some of the Chinese equivalents like Tencent and Alibaba really understand customers. They now have so much information. We give them photographs, we give them our geolocation data, we give them information on what we are searching for on the internet. And all of this allows them to get a very deep understanding of us as consumers, to a level where Facebook can now understand your level of intelligence. They can predict whether your parents are divorced or not. They can even predict whether you're going to change your relationship status from single to in a relationship about 2 weeks before you change that. They can now predict whether someone is depressed, and they can recognize your face. So they now understand what you're saying and what you look like. And their deep face algorithm uses machine learning to create a 3D model of your face from the photographs you've given it, and then scans the rest of the internet to find out who else, where else do you appear on photos, and who else you might know. And if they're on Facebook, Facebook might make a friend suggestion for you. So this level of understanding is now possible using AI and big data. It also allows us to create smarter products and services. One of my favorite examples is a smart nappy, right? This is a nappy that has a chip in it, and this chip takes a sample of whatever the baby puts into the nappy. This sample data is then sent to your mobile phone. Your mobile phone sends this to a cloud server where this is now analyzed. What is fascinating is, again, that these smart nappies are now able to predict infections. So you will get an alert saying your baby is going to develop an infection, your baby is going to get ill before any physical symptoms appear. So AI enables us to predict health condition and predict things. Disney is another good example. They want to understand their customers, and one thing they do is they use these magic bands. They have a GPS tracker in them, so if you go to their Disney parks and resorts, these devices can track you, and they know where you are, they know how long the queues are getting. One of the most innovative ways they've now used artificial intelligence is in their theaters, a bit like here, where they have cameras. The cameras view all of your faces, and they use artificial intelligence and machine learning to detect, are you paying attention? Are you surprised? Are you happy? Are you sad? So this now gives them real-time feedback of how the audience is actually reacting in real time. This is now changing business models where companies like this health insurance company called Vitality Health, what they are doing is they're giving all of their customers a free Apple Watch when they sign up. The watch will then track your activity levels. And if you are demonstrating to this health insurance company that you are active, you will get points that then reduce your premium. You can also link your online shopping account with this company, so they know what kind of food you're buying. And if you're buying lots of pizza, your premiums go up. If you buy really healthy food and you can demonstrate you're exercising, your premiums will go down. So we will see more of these business model disruptions. The key is that we're developing consumer trust in all of this, that customers don't feel that we're using data against them or ripping them off. And banking is a great example. In the past, banks have used data to say, I know how much I can increase my premium every year, so you're unlikely to go and find a different bank, right? Or they know that they can give you a big interest rate. You sign up for the deal, a few months later it goes down, but we are all too busy. Actually, I've done some work with the Royal Bank of Scotland, and in their data strategy they said, we want to develop real relationships with our customers. We want to give them some value back. So they're now using your financial information to help you identify where you might be overpaying. They will alert you that your interest rate is dropping in a few months' time so you can find a new product. And they might say that you've got 2 travel insurances, maybe you want to consolidate this into one. So again, giving customers value back is a real key message. The other key area where we can use data and AI is to automate our internal processes, from self-driving cars to autonomously flying drones. Sometimes people say that self-driving cars and passenger drones is something of the future. This is a photograph of Volocopter's passenger drone, and Dubai their plan is to have this live and running as an autonomous drone service by 2020, so in 2 years' time. This year they've had their first test flight where they actually took the crown prince of Dubai on their voyage journey. And the idea is that you have an app, you say, please pick me up drone, the drone will turn up, pick you up, and then take you wherever you want to go without any passenger or without any pilot on board. Another great example is this autonomous delivery vehicle. Where I live, we can already use these. They deliver shopping to my house. But this is one that they're using in Germany to deliver pizzas. And the idea is that Domino's Pizza will put the raw pizza into this device. The pizza will bake on the way to your house, and it will use artificial intelligence to establish exactly when it will get to your house, and then deliver the perfectly cooked pizza. Translation. Machines are able to translate between Turkish and English, between English and Chinese. And Google has just released the new Pixel headphones that will do translation in real time. So you wear your headphones, someone speaks to you in Chinese, and the headphones will use machine learning and AI to translate this in real time so you can have a conversation and you are hearing whatever they're saying in Chinese, you hear it in Turkish. This enables us to automate lots of different things. Wimbledon is a great example. Wimbledon uses a system called Slam Tracker that uses sensors and cameras to capture everything that is going on the tennis court. What they now do is they're using machine learning and especially natural language generation to turn this data into match reports, into social media conversations. So the machines will do this by themselves. They will take the data and turn this into a journalistic article that could be customized to different countries, to different audiences. And they will proactively start tweeting. So if there's a Turkish player that is starting to win some matches in Wimbledon, their tweet engine might start tweeting in Turkish, in Turkey, to say that this is happening, to really have proactive, live social media conversations about this. I write for Forbes. I have a column in Forbes. What lots of people don't know is that machines also write for Forbes. So these natural language generation tools now produce about 10% of the analyst reports that get published on Forbes. So when companies release their numbers, it is robots that analyze this data, compare this, and put this into text that we like to read. But we can also generate photographs, so not just content, written content, but even images. These images you can see here are all machine generated. These women don't exist in real time, in the real world. You can now take photographs of a nice summery scene somewhere in Istanbul, and the machine will turn this into a wintry scene using machine learning and artificial intelligence. So content generation is going to be transformed. For me, the key is that we are finding the sweet spot between what humans can do and what machines can do. And for me, medicine is a great example. In medicine, we're now using AI to diagnose cancer. So this is a breast scan, and what you can see there is the start of breast cancer. Normally, you have human radiologists looking at this, but you can also now train AIs, machine learning algorithms, to do this. And their ability to detect cancer is now better than human ability. What is interesting is that what they're not so good at is to really understand whether this is cancer or not. So they will detect any anomalies in the data, but humans are more reliable in saying you have cancer or not. So again, this is the perfect combination where we can now use machines which are never tired, they will never miss anything on the scan, to pre-analyze this data, mark out where the problems might be, and then a human doctor will look at this and make the final diagnosis. And by combining machines and people, you almost get a 100% accuracy rate. And this, for me, is the future, that we're using AI and data and our human ability to really deliver value. I believe that we are at the beginning of this new industrial revolution, that this will offer huge opportunities for our businesses and for us as human beings, and it is up to you now to take this and make the most of it. I believe very strongly that we are creating the future we want to live in, and I think it's up to all of us to now capture this and grab this opportunity and make the most of it, to create a better future for us as human beings. Thank you very much. Anything else you would like to know, please feel free to connect with me on social media, on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, or feel free to drop me a note or have a look on my website. Thank you very much. Thank you.